Hello, good morning. I'm still alive and I'm making a video to tell the whole. I think snow just fell off the roof. I'm making a video just to tell the whole story because I'm sure people are curious. I have notes over here, that's what I'm looking at, so I don't get too off topic. Um, so it's now March 2nd, and I had the stroke January 27th, so that's five weeks out now. So what happened was, I woke up in the middle of the night, well, like 4 o'clock. Heartburn, like choking on my own spit, then scary choking, like wheezing, could not breathe. Um, Eventually, I did figure out how to breathe, obviously. Um, and when I tried to take a drink of water, it just like came up out my nose and my mouth and did not even attempt to go down my throat. And then I thought, oh, maybe I have to throw up. Like, ran into the kitchen and kind of spit and gagged in the sink. And then I thought, I'll just go back to bed and I'll be fine when I wake up. So I put a towel on my bed to drool on and a trash can to spit in, and went back to sleep for a couple hours. Woke up again at 6 or 6:30. I was supposed to turn the horses out that morning. Still felt like crap. Went in the bathroom and like threw up some more, spit some more. And I was really like, so I took my phone in with me to text Kristen and Emmanuel, like, hey, can one of you turn the horses out? And I was like walking really, I never felt dizzy, but I was walking like very drunk kind of feeling, not steady at all. Um, so one of them texted me back, yep, we got it, stay home. So I went back to bed for a little while longer. I tried to rinse my mouth out, water still like came out my nose. So I was like, oh, that's weird, I'm gonna go back to sleep all day. Um, so I went back to sleep for most of the day. Um, Not always sleep, but kind of like very out of it. Just kind of leaning over the bed to spit or throw up in the trash can every once in a while. Um, and then at 3 or 4 o'clock, I thought, all right, I haven't been able to drink anything all day. I think at some point I got up again and tried to drink, and it still didn't work. And I couldn't. I realized at some point I couldn't talk. Um, and I figured it was just because I'd been like coughing and spitting so much. So I texted my dad. He didn't have his phone on him. My mom doesn't text. So I texted my dad and he didn't answer. So then I texted Kristen and Manuel again, like, can one of you take me to the CVS urgent care? Because that's where I was going to go. Because I was like, well, I'm not dying. I don't need to go to the hospital. In my defense, I was having a stroke. Um, so Emmanuel texts right back, like, yep, I'm 10 minutes away. I'll take you. Um, and as I was getting dressed, I was like really wobbly. I knew I couldn't drive, um, which is why I texted for a ride. So I was like really unsteady as I was getting dressed. I'm like halfway leaned over on the bed. My dad texted back once Emmanuel said he was coming, so I was like, oh no, I'm fine, I've got a ride. And then I went outside to sit on the steps, threw up some more on the front steps of my house. So that was nice, I'm sure, for whoever came back later. And then when Jill and Emmanuel got there, they were obviously like, no, you need to go to the hospital in an ambulance so that you get seen because you are not well. So I got to go to the hospital in an ambulance. That was fun. never gotten to ride in an ambulance before. I still had to wait a couple hours, and they called my parents, so my parents came to the ER to meet me. Still had to wait a couple hours and like spitting in a barf bag, and because I can't swallow anything. That's my big concern at this point is I just can't like I think about swallowing and nothing happens. I can kind of swallow now. Fact, I have a sip of tea. Still have to think about it a little bit. So, waited for a while in the ER. Finally went in. Still, I'm like kind of tired, sleepy. I'm like sitting up, passed out with a barf bag, like trying to keep my mask on, but like holding this barf bag inside my mask to spit in. And they take it like they do a bunch of tests. It felt like I was with it at the time, but I was not. My mom told me. Yeah, later my mom told me I was like saying weird stuff, which I have no recollection of. So I tested positive for strep throat in the ER. So they were initially treating me for that, and they did like put the thing down my nose to look like, why can't you swallow? Is there anything like what's going on in there? I don't remember all the order that this happened in. So we tested positive for strep, couldn't swallow, so they gave me a shot of penicillin in my right leg, which did not hurt, and I didn't really. That's going to be important later. I didn't really think anything of it at the time because I was just like everything, like I was out of it. Everything felt weird, and I hadn't eaten anything or drank anything all day, so just blah everywhere. And then I got a CT scan from the ER, I think. And then eventually they were like, well, you still can't swallow, so we can't send you home. So you're going to the ICU. So I went to the ICU. I think the whole next day they were still thinking it's like crazy strep. So they were just treating me for that. And then eventually they were like, no, let's do an MRI and see, like, something else has to be going on. So they did the MRI, and that's how they found stroke. Didn't show up on the CT, or they didn't get the right angle or something. So that was I hope I'm telling this right. I had a vertebral artery dissection, which is like damage. Something you can Google that. Damage to the vein, which they said in people my age is usually from some kind of trauma, which I have no recollection of doing anything to my neck, so maybe I slept weird. I don't know. I do a lot of stupid things, so anything could have happened. And that caused the clot, or a clot to form where the damage was, which caused the stroke. And then that causes that, so that that's in the doula. So that's the doctor came in and she's like, so technically that's a brainstem stroke. Don't Google brainstem stroke. It's just as bad as Googling retained placenta when your horse has a retained placenta. And all the Google results are like, you're gonna die and your horse is gonna die and everything is terrible. But I didn't die, I don't think, and neither did my horse. Anyway, different thing. Don't Google stuff. So, where was I? Notes. So, had the stroke. Oh yeah, so it caused, I guess the symptoms are the swallowing, and then I only noticed after they were like, like, are you sure you don't have any, like, differences on, like, do both sides of your body feel the same? And I was like, they don't. Um, I didn't really notice in the hospital, so my whole right side feels, um, like it feels normal when I'm just sitting here, and I can, like, obviously move and feel things, and I passed all the, like, squeeze the doctor's hands neuro tests, but I can't feel temperature exactly, or I couldn't at the time, which I didn't notice because the hospital is it's the same temperature always. But now I'm like going outside and it's cold, so I'm like, oh, one side of my body is cold and the other isn't. Um, so temperature, I can kind of feel internal temperature now, um, and now I can tell, like, if I touch something hot or touch something cold, it's uncomfortable in different ways, so I can kind of tell that something's going on, but it's not just like it's not normal. It's like it's just different. It's very hard to describe. Um, and then like prickling, like like I can feel that I'm touching my hand and pinching, but it doesn't hurt. Like they did a lot of blood, like I said, if you were paying attention, the penicillin didn't hurt. Um, so once we figured this out, I was like, oh yeah, that was going on. Um, so they're like taking blood. Um, I didn't feel the needle really go in. Um, and it just kind of feels like there's a layer of something over me, like over my skin. Um, so that's a little weird. Like, and now when like if the cat attacks me, um, so now this is sort of new-ish. If the cat attacks me, like I don't really feel a claws as pain on my skin, but it's definitely like there's a definite like, oh, something is happening and you should take your hand away from it. Um, so that's kind of weird. Uh, and I think I got a little ahead of myself here. All right, so they figured out I was having a stroke in the hospital. Still could not swallow after a couple days. I think at first they were gonna do the nose feeding tube, or like IV food, um, which I guess is not that good for you. And then they decided not to do them because then they were like, well, we're gonna send you home with a peg tube, which is the direct into the stomach one. Uh, well, I won't show you. It's not that gross. Um, but no one needs to see my tummy. Uh, and I guess you have to like get used to the formula and everything. So they were like, if we're just gonna do the peg tube, then not bother with the other stuff. So I got that, and then after a couple of days of that, I got to go home. I went to my parents' house for a couple weeks, so that I could be monitored. Um, and I think I started being able to swallow a little bit. I had the speech therapist visit in the hospital and give me stuff to start doing, which I was like, yes, tell me I miss food. Hospital TV, by the way, lots of lots of ads for food, which is not nice to watch when you can't eat. Um, so they showed me how to do the tube feeds and sent me home. And then I stayed at my parents for a couple weeks, and now I'm back at my apartment. Did I miss anything? I can kind of, so now I can kind of eat. I haven't been, like, the past few days, I've been able to swallow my pills, with my mouth, and I can eat, like, soup, soft stuff, wet. I got a swallow study done, which is they come in a van, or at least this is how they did it for me. They come in a van, and then you eat and drink stuff that has barium in it, and that while they X-ray, so they can like see how things are working. So I guess I still have like a little bit. There's a part that is supposed to open up and let the food down, and it's still like not quite, so it can't eat like I have to chew a lot, really dry stuff, and I like very much like alternating sips of water, and like bread hasn't gone well when I've tried, but I'm eating enough now. I haven't been really using the feeding tube for the past few days, so yay. All right, I think that is the whole story. If you have more questions, you know where to find me. And in case anyone is worried about my horses, they're good. Everybody at the barn, you know who you are. Awesome. All right. Sorry you. Oh, and my voice still sounds weird to me. My mom says it doesn't sound weird to her. And then when I go to watch this myself, of course I'm going to sound weird to me, but I still sound weird to me. Sometimes my facial expressions feel a little off, but I don't know. And I try not to have facial expressions, so I don't know. All right.